Greetings, friends. Come, draw near. I am but a barefoot old man, worn by sun and questions, wandering the dusty stones of our Agora. You will find me no different than the common potter, the merchant of olives, the sailor fresh from Piraeus, except, perhaps, that I carry no goods to market. Only questions. You have heard of me, perhaps? The Gadfly of Athens, they call me. A sting upon the noble horse that is our city. A pest, they say, biting and buzzing where all wish for quiet. Some even name me corrupter of the youth, though I teach nothing at all. I merely ask. It was many years ago now that I first heard the words that changed the course of my life. At the great shrine of Delphi, where Apollo himself speaks through the Pythia, the priestess shrouded in vapors, it was declared that no man in Athens was wiser than Socrates. Me. I laughed aloud when I heard it, for if I am wise in anything, it is this. I know that I know nothing, and yet the gods do not speak idly, do they? So I set about to test this oracle. I wandered through the bustling streets beneath the high Acropolis, through the shade of the painted Stoa, where philosophers and artists debate, through the noisy ecclesia, where politicians raise their voices like roosters. I sought the sophists, the paid teachers, who claim to make the young men clever with words. I questioned generals, poets, craftsmen, all who were held wise. What did I find? That many men are skilled in a trade, or fluent in poetry, or victorious in battle. And yet, when pressed, no less of virtue, of justice, of their own soul, than the simplest child playing in the dust. They believe they know. That is their great error. Better, I think, to be as I am, aware of my ignorance, and thus always seeking. And so, each day I walk these streets, speaking in the shade of the columns, the heat pressing on my shoulders, the smell of olives and fish hanging thick. I stop men and women in the Agora, by the wells, beneath the cypress trees. I ask simple things. What is courage? What is justice? What is a good life? Few like to be asked, fewer still can answer. But tell me, friend, and I ask you now, not as a teacher, but as a fellow soul adrift in this vast mystery. How can a man govern a city if he does not first govern himself? And how can he govern himself if he does not first know himself? Gnothi auton, know thyself, so commands the stone above the temple at Delphi. But what is it, truly, to know thyself? Is it to know your family name, your trade, your talents? Or is it something deeper and far more difficult? Come, let us search together. I have questions enough for us both. You are still with me. Good. Not everyone has the courage to linger once the real questions begin. Now, know thyself. This is no small command. You may think you already know yourself well enough. You might say, I am Nicias, son of Nicandros, a merchant of fine oils. Or, I am Phaedra, daughter of Lysimachus, and I weave the finest cloth in Athens. But tell me, are you merely your trade, your family, your name given at birth? If the gods had switched you at birth, changed your name, would you then be someone else? No, surely not. The soul, psyche, is not made of cloth or coin. And so I ask, if you are not merely your body, nor your name, nor your occupation, what are you? When I was younger, and less grey of beard, I thought knowing myself meant listing all the things I could do. I could fight with spear and shield. I could speak before a jury. I could reason with the sophists and sometimes best them. But these are only skills, like the potter shaping clay. They do not tell me if I am just, if I am good, if I live as a man ought to live. So then, to know oneself is first to ask, what is my soul made of? Not of dust and water like the body, but of choices, of virtues, of the loves I hold highest. Tell me, have you ever stopped in the cool of evening, after the assembly has closed, after the vendors have packed their stalls, and asked yourself, why did I do what I did today? Was I guided by courage or by fear? Did I speak the truth because it was just or because it was convenient? Most do not ask. They rise with the sun. They buy. They sell. They argue. They sleep. And all without questioning. They are like horses that gallop wherever the whip strikes, not knowing why. Is that not strange, that a man should spend more time polishing his sandals than polishing his soul? Yesterday I met a wealthy merchant near the Stoa Poikile, the painted porch. He boasted of his gold, his foreign slaves, his ships riding heavy with goods. And yet, when I asked him what courage was, or virtue, or justice, he stammered as if I had spoken in the tongue of the Scythians. He had mastered the seas, but not himself. Another day, a young man, fresh from the gymnasium, proud of his strength. He flexed his arms, laughing. I asked him, are you stronger than anger? Are you stronger than lust? Can you wrestle your own greed to the ground and make it yield? He frowned. He had never thought to fight those foes. Most believe they know themselves well enough. But when pressed, what do we find? That they mistake their habits for their nature, their desires for their soul. One man says, I desire wealth. Therefore it is natural and good that I pursue it. Another says, I feel fear. Therefore it is wise to avoid danger. But desire and fear are like winds. They blow from many directions. Should we build our houses on the winds? No, friends. We must build on something sturdier. Something known and chosen. This is why I say, the first step to knowing thyself is to examine thyself. Like a potter examining the clay. Where is it too soft? Where has it cracked? Where must it be shaped anew? You must turn your gaze inward, not with flattery, not with fear, but with honest eyes. Ask, what virtues have I nurtured? What vices have I allowed to grow like weeds? Am I ruled by reason or by appetite? Examine your loves, your fears, your angers. Examine them as a sculptor examines the marble, seeking what shape lies hidden within. And do not trust only yourself in this work, friends, for we are clever at deceiving ourselves. We see our own reflections as taller, fairer, braver than they are. Seek others, not flatterers, but true companions. Speak together, challenge one another, as we do now, for just as a whetstone sharpens iron, so dialogue sharpens the soul. The sophists, of course, will sell you cleverness for a fee, but cleverness without truth is like a beautiful cloak hiding a twisted body. Seek not what sounds pleasing, but what is true, even if it stings. Know this, self-knowledge is not a garment to be worn once and forgotten. It is a path, a hodos, a daily journey. It will make you free, or it will make you miserable, until you surrender to truth. But once you begin, you cannot turn back. The man who has glimpsed his own soul cannot return to the marketplace pretending he is only his purse or his strength. You will have seen something greater. and it will demand your loyalty. I ask you now, friend, who are you, really? Not the name shouted across the Agora, not the skills praised in the gymnasium, not the fears whispered in the night. Who is the you that remains when all else is stripped away? Come, let us seek it together. You are still with me. Good. Few have the endurance to walk the harder road. Most prefer to run to the theatre, the gymnasium, the wine shops of the Keramakos. Questions, you see, are heavier than amphoras, yet more precious than gold. Now, listen well. There is a way to seek the soul, just as there is a way to seek fine silver in the hills. It is called elenchus, examination through questioning. Not just any questions, not the way the sophists teach, spinning words to dazzle and confuse. No. A true question is like a surgeon's knife, sharp, clean, and without cruelty. It cuts away the swollen falsehoods to find the living truth beneath. You have seen me in the Agora, perhaps, stopping a politician as he struts by, cloak flowing behind him, to ask, "What is justice?" And when he gives his answer, "Justice is obeying the laws," I ask again, "Are all laws just, then? Even if the assembly passes a wicked one?" He frowns. The easy answer wilts like a flower cut from its roots. That is the way of it. We ask, not once, not twice, but again and again, until all the dead branches fall away. Only yesterday, a bright-eyed youth stopped me by the altar of Hermes. He said, "Socrates, teach me how to be wise." And I asked him, "What is wisdom?" He puffed out his chest. "Wisdom is knowing many things," I smiled, not unkindly, and asked, "If a man knows how to steal, how to cheat at dice, and how to lie well, is he therefore wise?" The boy frowned. No, Socrates, that is wickedness, not wisdom." "Ah," I said, "then wisdom is not merely knowing many things, but knowing which things are good to know." "Yes," he agreed eagerly, "and who teaches which things are good? The sophists, the poets, the assembly, or the gods?" He stammered. He looked to the ground. "This, my friend, is how we learn, by discovering what we do not yet know. You see, admitting ignorance is not shameful. No, it is honorable. Only the fool thinks he knows what he does not. The wise man knows how deep and dark the well truly is, and still dares to lower the bucket. And so I ask you, as I ask myself each day, what do I truly know? And what have I merely assumed, like a blind man guessing the shapes of clouds? The gods favor the seeker, not the pretender. Come, let us speak plainly. If you would question yourself rightly, as I have tried to do these many years, you must remember 3 things. First, ask precise questions. Do not be content with vague ideas. If you say, "I want to be good," ask yourself, good in what way? Kind? Just? Brave? Wise? Each virtue has its own face. Second, demand consistency. If today you say that courage is facing danger, but tomorrow you run from truth to avoid shame, are you still courageous? No, you must be a friend to the truth, even when it wounds you. Third, follow the argument, not your pride. If a question leads you where you did not expect, rejoice. You are closer to wisdom than you were before. Most men would rather defend their pride than defend the truth. Do not be like them. There are some who claim mastery of words. The sophists strolling through Athens with purple cloaks and fat purses. They sell arguments the way a merchant sells figs, sweet to the taste, but rotting underneath. Beware them. They will teach you how to win debates, but not how to win your own soul. Remember, we do not question for the sake of victory. We question for the sake of truth. And truth is not a prize you seize by cleverness. It is a path you walk by humility. Perhaps you have heard. The ecclesia has charged me with impiety, with corrupting the youth. It is no matter. Death cannot harm a good man. Only shame can. At my trial, when the great men shouted against me, when the crowds jeered, I stood quiet and asked one final question. Is it better to live wickedly or to die innocently? They had no answer. They sentenced me to death, of course. But I tell you, I left the court cleaner than they did. And now, friend, I turn the question to you. When did you last sit in stillness and question your own soul, not with flattery, nor with despair, but with honest eyes as a friend to yourself, tonight when the streets grow quiet and the moon hangs above the Acropolis? Ask yourself, what do I claim to know? How do I know it? Have I tested it by reason, or merely accepted it by habit? Do I live as I believe a good man should? And when you have asked, ask again, and again, until you find either a truth to build upon, or an ignorance to uproot. This is the beginning of wisdom. This is the way to know thyself. Come, let us not waste another day. Ah, friend, you are still at my side. Good, you are sturdier than most. Many begin this path, few finish it. Now that we know the method, let us speak plainly of the traps and snares that lie along the road. For the road to knowing thyself is not smooth, nor is it free from enemies. There are forces, quiet and cunning, that drag a man back into the shadows of ignorance. I have seen 3 great enemies lurking everywhere in Athens, 3 thieves that steal self-knowledge from the soul. Let me name them for you. The first is pride, thinking we already know. Pride whispers in our ear, you already know who you are. You are a good citizen, a loyal friend, a wise speaker. What more is there to seek? And so we stop asking. We wear our titles like armor, never daring to lift the visor and see the trembling soul beneath. I have seen proud men, generals, poets, merchants, each believing that because he commands soldiers, or weaves beautiful verses, or weighs silver skillfully, therefore he must also be wise. But tell me, does the shoemaker know how to navigate the sea, simply because he stitches fine sandals? Does the potter know how to heal the sick, because he shapes fine bowls? No, skill in one thing does not make wisdom in all things. Pride blinds the eye. It freezes the soul. A man swollen with pride cannot squeeze through the narrow gate of self-examination. The second enemy is fear, avoiding painful truths. To question yourself honestly is not easy. It is not like admiring your reflection in the still waters of the Ilissus. It is more like walking into a dark cave with only a torch that flickers and shakes. You might find things you do not wish to see. Cowardice you hid from yourself. Greed you dressed up as ambition. Anger you called justice. Many turn back at the cave mouth. Better, they think, to live comfortably with pleasant illusions than to endure the pain of tearing them down. But tell me, is it not better to set a broken bone, though it cause agony for a time, than to leave it twisted forever? Truth may wound, but falsehood is a slow poison. Courage, my friend. Courage is not merely standing in the phalanx against the Spartan spears. It is standing naked before your own soul and saying, I see you, even with all your flaws, and I will not turn away. The third enemy is imitation, living by others' standards. From the day we are born, the city wraps its arms around us. Speak thus, it says, behave thus, desire this, despise that. We learn to play our parts in the grand theatre of Athens. But rarely do we ask, is this truly who I am? Do you wear the cloak of virtue because it fits your soul, or because the crowd cheers when you wear it? I have seen it 1,000 times. A man praises bravery, but only when the assembly rewards it. A woman praises wisdom, but only when her neighbors approve. Tell me, if you were alone on a desert island, with no one to applaud you or scorn you, would you still strive to be just, to be wise, to be good? Or would you find you have been wearing masks so long you have forgotten the face beneath? Imitation is easy, but living according to your own reason, your own deepest knowledge, that is hard. And yet that is what it means to know thyself. Once, during the war with Sparta, when our city was gripped by fear and anger, the assembly demanded harsh judgments. They shouted for death, for exile, for vengeance. I stood before them, alone, small, barefoot, and spoke against the tide. I said, "It is better to suffer wrong than to do wrong. Better to lose a battle with justice than to win with cruelty." They jeered, they shouted. Some would have stoned me if the law allowed, but I tell you, better to stand with truth alone than with 1,000 shouting lies. Pride tells us we need not search. Fear tells us we dare not search. Imitation tells us we are already what others say we should be. Together, they lull us to sleep, and the sleeping soul is easily led, easily ruled, easily destroyed. But the man who knows himself truly knows he is free, even if he is chained, even if he is condemned, even if he is poor. So I say to you now, if you would walk the path of self-knowledge, arm yourself against pride with humility. Arm yourself against fear with courage. Arm yourself against imitation with reason. Each day, take up this armor anew, not once, not twice, but every day, like a soldier renewing his shield before battle. Question yourself as you question the world. Question what you desire. Question what you fear. Question what you admire. Ask yourself, is this truly mine? Or was it given to me by the crowd, the poets, the sophists, the assembly? Strip away all that is borrowed, all that is false, until only the naked soul remains. And then, only then, will you be ready to build a life that is truly your own. I ask you now, friend, what virtues have you built with your own hands? What loves have you chosen, not inherited? What fears have you faced and named as your own? Come, let us not fear the stripping away, for what is left, when all that is false is burned away, is pure, is strong, is worthy. Now let us speak of that soul, and how it can grow into its finest form. Come, let us seek the path to the good life. Ah, you are still with me. Better and better. Few have the patience or the courage to walk so far into themselves. Now that we have named the enemies, pride, fear, and imitation, let us speak of the road itself. For knowing what blocks the path is not enough. We must know how to walk it. I will not lie to you. The road to knowing thyself is long. There are no shortcuts through cleverness, no ferry across the river. You must walk, each step, by your own reason, your own labor, your own willing soul. Let me show you the way, as I have learned to walk it. First, you must practice daily self-examination. Each night, when the lamps are lit and the Agora falls silent, sit alone, as I do, and ask yourself, what did I do today? Why did I do it? Were my actions just or unjust? Did I speak the truth or twist it for gain? Did I act from courage or from fear? Do not flatter yourself. Do not excuse yourself. Hold your soul as a sculptor holds a chisel, firm, precise, relentless. If you find you have acted with justice, rejoice and strengthen that virtue. If you find you have acted with folly or cruelty, do not despair, but set your mind to correct it. The man who examines his soul daily is like a farmer tending his fields. He uproots the weeds before they choke the harvest. Second, you must seek true dialogue, not mere argument. Most debates in Athens are like cockfights, full of noise, blood, and pride, but no wisdom. True dialogue is different. It is two souls facing each other honestly, stripping away illusions together. It is asking and being asked without anger, without trickery, without the desire to win. Find companions who love truth more than victory. Speak with them often. Sharpen one another, as iron sharpens iron. And if you find a man who questions you sharply, thank him. Even if he wounds your pride, he is your friend, not your enemy. For it is better to have a friend who wounds your vanity and saves your soul, than a flatterer who kisses your pride and leads you to ruin. Third, you must measure yourself by virtue, not by fame, wealth, or applause. In the marketplace, a man is praised for his fortune. In the assembly, for his loud voice. In the gymnasium, for the strength of his arms. But tell me, who praises the man who conquers his own greed? Who cheers for the woman who refuses to lie for gain? Few, if any. And yet, which victories are greater? Thus, measure yourself by the eternal things, by courage, by justice, by temperance, by wisdom. Each day ask not, what have I gained? But rather, what have I become? If you grow in virtue, even unseen, even unpraised, you are rich indeed. Not long ago, I spoke with a mason who shaped stones for the Acropolis. I asked him, when you carve the stone, do you merely strike and hope it becomes a column? He laughed. No, Socrates, I measure, I chisel, I polish, patiently, daily, carefully. I smiled and said, and yet, when it comes to your own soul, you strike wildly and hope for the best. He laughed no more. The soul, friend, is a temple grander than any column, and it deserves greater care. Daily shaping, daily polishing, this is the path. You must also carry two companions upon this road, patience and courage. Patience, because the soul does not reveal itself all at once. You will stumble, you will err. Some days you will feel no wiser than a goat wandering the fields. Courage, because the work is not easy. It will demand you tear down some parts of yourself you once cherished. It will demand you stand alone, sometimes against the crowd. But hear me. What better work could there be? What finer craft than the shaping of your own soul into a thing of beauty? The goldsmith fashions jewelry for the rich. The sculptor fashions marble for the gods. The wise man fashions himself. When a man knows himself, truly, he does not fear the assembly's judgment. He does not crave the sophist's approval. He does not bow before the merchant's coin. He walks through the world lightly, free, though bound by chains, rich though he sleeps on a bare floor. Strong, though his body withers. He becomes, as the poets say, a soul in harmony with itself. This is no small thing, friend. It is the greatest prize Athens, or any city, can offer, and it is open to all, rich or poor, slave or free, strong or weak. It is yours, if you choose it. Tonight, when the shadows stretch long across the stones, when the fires burn low in the hearths, and Athens hums in its sleep. Begin the work. Sit quietly. Ask, who am I? What have I loved? What have I feared? What have I become? And listen, truly listen, for the soul's answer. You may find that at first it speaks faintly, like the whisper of dry leaves. But if you listen each night, and each morning rise determined, that whisper will grow into a voice strong enough to guide your life. This is the path. No one can walk it for you. But I will walk it beside you, questioning, laughing, enduring, until the gods call me home. Come, the work begins. You have walked far with me, friend, farther than most. You have heard the questions. You have faced the obstacles. You have glimpsed the work that lies ahead. Now let me tell you of the fruits, the rewards that wait for those who do not turn back. The first fruit is freedom from illusion. Most men live like actors in a comedy, wearing masks, playing parts, chasing applause, fearing the jeers of the crowd. But the man who knows himself, he has thrown down the mask. He walks bare-faced through the Agora, unconcerned with whispers, untouched by flattery or scorn. Imagine it, to live without fear of what others think, to speak only what is true, and not what is pleasing, to act from your own soul, not from the shifting winds of public opinion. Such a man is free, free not because no one rules him, but because no one owns him, not even his own pride. The second fruit is greater virtue and strength of character. When a man knows himself, he knows his weaknesses. And knowing them, he can guard against them. The coward who knows he fears pain can train himself to stand firm. The greedy man who knows he covets wealth can discipline his desires. The vain woman who knows she craves praise can turn her heart toward inner beauty. Without knowledge, these weaknesses creep like thieves through the unguarded house of the soul. But with knowledge, the gates are fortified. Each day of self-examination builds your character like a craftsman builds a temple, stone by stone, with care, with purpose. And in time, your soul will stand strong, not a shack swaying in the winds of fortune, but a citadel shining on a hill. The third fruit is the richest of all, a life of meaning, not mere success. Look around you. How many men chase money, fame, pleasure, only to find them bitter when they are old? How many women climb the heights of society, only to look down and see emptiness? They have mistaken motion for progress, noise for music, riches for wisdom. But the man who knows himself, he does not waste his days chasing shadows. He plants himself in virtue and grows roots deep into the earth of truth. He may be poor in coin, but he will be rich in spirit. He may be unknown to the masses, but he will be known to himself and to the gods, and when death comes, as it must to us all, he will greet it not with trembling hands, but with open arms, for he will have lived a life worth living. You have heard of my trial, the charges laid against me, corrupting the youth, questioning the gods. They demanded I beg for mercy. They demanded I weep and plead for my life. but I would not, for I knew myself. And knowing myself, I knew what was right. And knowing what was right, I would not trade it for life itself. Better to die with a clean soul than live with a stained one. The city condemned me, but I did not condemn myself. And so I drank the cup of hemlock calmly, as a man drinks a toast at a wedding, knowing that the soul, once freed from the illusions of the body, flies lighter than air. Do not think, however, that self-knowledge brings only sweetness. It will cost you many things the world holds dear. You may lose the favor of the crowds. You may lose friends who prefer pleasant lies to painful truths. You may lose comforts, honors, easy victories. But you will gain yourself. And what greater prize is there? The world may reward those who serve its vanities. But the soul rewards only those who serve the truth. Choose your master wisely. Picture, if you can, the man who has walked this road fully. He rises each day, not asking, "What will they think of me?" but "What good may I do today?" He acts not from fear, nor from greed, nor from hunger for praise, but from a quiet, steady light within. He faces misfortune with calm. He faces success with humility. He faces death with joy. For he is no longer a slave, not to passions, not to men, not even to fate. He is free. And that, my friend, is the finest thing a human soul can become. So here we are, friend, at the edge of the known road. You have walked far. You have listened well. Now, the choice lies before you, not in word, but in deed. The gods do not reward those who merely hear wisdom. They reward those who live it. Listening is easy. Agreeing is easy. But to rise tomorrow and examine your soul, honestly, daily, without pride or fear, that is hard. That is rare. Sometimes, as I walk these dusty stones, barefoot and old, I wonder, why do so few choose this path? It is not that the path is hidden. It is not that it is barred. It is simply that most men are afraid. Afraid of seeing themselves clearly. Afraid of losing the lies that make their days comfortable. Better, they think, to be a well-fed slave than a hungry free man. But I tell you, better to know yourself in sorrow than to live in ignorance with a smile. For the soul that knows itself, even in grief, even in struggle, shines brighter than all the gold piled in the temples of the gods. And so I leave you with this. Will you walk the hard road? Will you dare to meet yourself? Fully, fearlessly, without the mask of pride or the armor of imitation? Will you live an examined life, or merely drift through the days, like a leaf tossed by every passing wind? The unexamined life, remember, is not worth living. Not for a man, not for a woman, not for any soul that dreams of freedom. Come, the night is long, the journey is longer, but I will walk with you as far as I may. And when my time comes to leave this road, as all mortal men must, I pray you will walk on, stronger, wiser, freer than before. The work is yours now. Let it be worthy.